Several days ago, we discussed an extremely disturbing scene that was ultimately cut from Avengers Endgame. That scene involved Thanos venturing to the Earth of 2014 and killing the Avengers of his original timeline in Endgame, then taking the severed head of Captain America and passing through a time machine, presenting it to the current timeline Steve Rogers of 2023. This was set to be Thanos' main entrance into the Avengers Endgame battle, and was going to kick off the battle with Steve Rogers, with Thanos showing him that he had already killed him in his own timeline and his own existence, and now it was going to be his job to kill the main MCU timeline and ensure that the Avengers would never undo what he did. But today, the Russo brothers have revealed far more details on the most disturbing scene in Avengers Endgame by far, and revealed that they actually really wanted to keep this scene in Endgame, but why they decided that they had to cut it. If you guys have been enjoying the channel recently, I would really appreciate it if you guys could leave a like, as it helps it out way more than you know. But this is what the Russo brothers had to say about this really disturbing scene, and why they liked it so much. When Thanos comes back and he comes through a hole that Nebula has created using the time machine and all that, we had to decide what the playing field was going to look like for the final battle. And one idea was that he opens up a time rift, he walks through the 2014 Earth where he's already gone and laid waste to the whole place. And so our heroes come out of the dust. They see this figure walking towards them. He crosses from light to dark or whatever, and it's Thanos, and he tosses something at their feet, and it rolls and it lands at Steve's feet, and it's his own head. Captain America's helmet's still being on. It was a very complicated idea to pull off. It was also revealed with an interview with Kevin Smith that it was not the Russo brothers that ultimately decided to scrap the scene, but supposedly Marvel itself, as they didn't want a scene too gruesome to appear in Avengers Endgame. With this quote from the Russo brothers saying this: "The four of us sat in a room for months going, how do we make Captain America's severed head work? We can't figure out where we go once he throws his head at his feet. Where does the story go after this moment?" So we actually learn a few things about one of the most disturbing scenes in Marvel Cinematic Universe history. We learned that it was one of the favorites of the Russo brothers and that they were not the ones to ultimately cut it, but most likely the larger studio, as they didn't want the head of Captain America to be shown on screen, of course. We also learned that Thanos was actually going to pass through some type of time machine portal onto the battlefield directly, instead of simply appearing out of his spaceship in the Sanctuary 2 as he did in the normal theatrical release of Endgame. Apparently the Avengers were going to get a glimpse of the horrific timeline that would have happened to them in 2014, and Thanos personally was going to pass through this sort of portal and approach the Avengers, again with Steve Rogers' severed head, at which point the battle was going to begin. Instead though, we just got Thanos waiting for the Avengers on the battlefield, which is what ultimately happened in the theatrical cut. It's interesting though that they actually described the shot that was going to take place with Thanos entering the normal timeline, where they would see this horrific alternate reality, even worse than the reality where the snap happened, and Thanos, or a large figure, approaching them through mist and dust. And slowly that dark figure was going to enter the light, revealed to of course be Thanos, holding something in his hand, with Thanos explaining that he already ventured back to his own timeline and killed the Avengers personally, and now he's come to finish exactly what he started, his goal to kill the Avengers, not just get the stones. It's very personal this time. At which point again, now being fully engulfed in the light of the battlefield, he would have thrown Steve Rogers' severed head at Captain America, the helmet still placed on his head. But that is just the Russo brothers' explanation on, again, the most disturbing Marvel scene I've ever heard of personally. It's also interesting to hear, according to the Russo brothers, that this is one of their favorite scenes, and that for months they actually talked about a way to include this. But again, how the studio ultimately said it was a bad idea to have this in the movie. But for me personally, the more I hear about it, the more interesting it sounds. Of course, Thanos is extremely threatening in Avengers Endgame, but this would have pushed him absolutely over the edge and made him an even more terrifying antagonist, really showcasing the difference also between the 2014 Thanos and the Thanos that we encounter in Avengers Infinity War, as well as his goals, as again in Infinity War, he literally goes out of his way not to kill anybody because that's not his ultimate goal. He wants the stones, not to kill anyone personally. However, when Thanos puts his mind to killing people, that's what we see in 2014. It's, as the Russo brothers have put it before, the difference between a philosopher, which is the Infinity War Thanos, and a warrior, the Avengers Endgame Thanos. But what are your guys' own thoughts on this deleted scene that the Russo brothers apparently really wanted to be in the movie? And hearing more details about it, are you with me? And would you have liked to see what it ultimately looked like on screen? Or are you with the larger studio and understand why they cut it? The Infinity War Hot Toy figure giveaway continues. We're really close to our goal though. At 250k, we will announce the winner of a highly detailed Infinity War hot toy figure. To enter that, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments below your favorite scene in Infinity War or Endgame. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.